Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters in That podcast. I'm your host Brian. And joining me today, Semaj Halimon, aka Just Semaj Productions. How you doing, brother?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Not too bad, and it's actually been a beautiful day here, even though I was coming out of church, or actually I was going into church, and it was like overcast, and for some reason it had that look like it was going to rain today, and actually turned out to be a beautiful day, so I can't really complain at this point.
Well, not so much for me. It's been pretty sunny, but then it'll rain, then it'll be sunny, then it'll start raining real bad. So, I mean, overall, it's been a fantastic, productive day. It's just been like the weather's been a little crazy here.
Yeah, it's actually been a weird August because it's meant to be a lot drier and the grass is meant to be a lot more browner. So in that case, you don't have to worry about mowing the grass as much as you probably would in the previous months. So I guess which part of the states are you in?
I'm in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia.
Are you?
Yes, sir.
Actually, got a good friend actually a couple good friends out of Columbus, Georgia. How far is that from Atlanta?
It's about Columbus. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll say no more than an hour. I mean, no more than an hour, maybe two.
Something like that. And shout out to Sean Woodley. He is actually a good friend of mine who came out of there too. And James Cohn, that's right. Almost forgot about James. And he's been traveling around doing some music shows here and there. I think he's doing more covers, to be honest, and then some of his own little work here and there. So he's doing some good work out there too. So
Hey, that's all that matters. That's the biggest part of the work.
absolutely too. So
Yeah.
Samaj, welcome to my podcast right here. And actually, we met on a band together, right? And have you been a part of that group for a while?
Yeah.
I guess how did they find about you?
Huh.
How did they find out about you?
So they have this little group that goes around. Someone added me to it, and I've just been in there ever since.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been a great networking tool. I'm not even gonna lie. It's been very good to me when it comes to networking.
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
really cool independent people in this field of music, from producers to tour managers to podcast owners. Like I've met so many people out of that group, so I think it's definitely doing what they set out for it to do.
Yeah, got a special shout out to Christina and Greg for putting the whole thing together. And I think now, recently, I just saw it was like 4.1 thousand people who had joined the group right now. So
Yeah, it's growing.
I would say there's a little bit of some people saying they're getting like shadow banned or something like that, or they're not able to like post as much as they probably should. I don't know. Do you deal with something like that at all, or I don't know what that?
I don't. But I also I'm not sure why they're getting shadow banned, but it could be potentially the thing of if you overpost, that can be a lot. So it's like, well, are you spamming me or like what are you doing? But I don't really post a whole bunch in the group. I post like quarterly or periodically just so that don't happen to me. So I'm very intentional when it comes to my posts.
I see. It's also just a reminder to say like, hey, I'm still here, that sort of thing too.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just, I'm still here. I ain't
That's-
gone anywhere yet.
All right. So the way my podcast works here is we're just going to get to know you more both as the musician, but also as the individual too. So send you the questions. Hope you had some time to review. You ready?
I definitely do.
All right. Let's start with the first one right here. Tell us a bit about yourself. Who are you? And I guess what instrument do you play?
So, who I am. I am the word I like to use when it comes to myself is multifaceted. I grew up doing music in church. That's where it all started for me and how I even got in love with music. I come from a musical family. My mom's side are singers. My dad's side is more into rapping. So I kind of have it honest a little bit when it comes to that aspect. A little bit more about myself is I got started singing. My first solo that I did was at the age of 5. I was 5 years old. I sang this old song in church. I still kind of cringe now thinking about that old song. Like, why were you so young singing that old song? Um, but yeah, so I started in church. Then I started doing talent shows, and I just remember from that moment I felt like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I had a satisfaction of it at an early age. So then I started doing like talent shows at my school, and then I just slowly started to become an independent artist. So that's me in a nutshell too.
You said your dad was kind of on the rapping side. Did he try to become a rapper, or did he just like the whole scene in general?
Um, so I was not young enough to remember if he became a rapper. I just remember him like making music. I don't necessarily, now that I look at it now as an adult, I don't think my dad necessarily sought out to be like a big rapper. I think it was just something he did in his pastime. Now I have an uncle that just signed with Sony Orchard. He goes by the name of Henry P. He raps as well, so it was like he took it to the next level for himself. So I think it was just a thing of he just didn't want, that wasn't something he wanted to do as a permanent thing of life.
It is physically demanding as well, especially when you gotta try to match the level of Snoop Dogg and like all those other big rappers as well.
A lot of work.
And I'd say, hey, your first videos, don't be ashamed of it too, because you could say it's humble beginnings, and also a sign that you had to start off somewhere too. So
Most definitely. And it's also something that you can look back on and be like, you know what? We've come a long way.
yeah, it's like a journal. There we go. It's like a journal in a way. So
Yep.
now everything's videoized. It's not so much we write it down anymore, like what our people before us, or maybe our grandparents were doing before
Yeah.
before the whole technology thing came around too. So that's cool. So
Yeah.
you just strictly do vocals? You don't do like any instruments or anything like that? You do like do a MIDI keyboard?
So I just do the drums. I'm more so into, as an artist, more into the production side of things. I have my own film and music production company called Just Semaj Productions, to where we specialize in production of music and film.
So the
Some,
drums is, I was gonna say the drums is strictly like your MIDI, for instance. Like I'll just tap on something like a keyboard key, for instance.
no, it's actually the percussion drums, like the actual drums itself.
Oh, that's pretty cool. What brand is it? And I guess if you want to walk us through it, go ahead.
If I had to pick a favorite brand, it'd probably be the Yamaha.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like the acousticness of it, and I mean, it's just like any other drum set. However, that's just my preference.
I see. I guess when did you start Just Semaj Productions?
So I was kind of doing the work already. It just wasn't a business. I legally made it a business last year, right around the time of Thanksgiving. So we're slowly approaching our first year.
I see. I guess you're just doing it like a home studio sort of thing at the moment.
No, I'm actually contract. I have a home studio, but it's not in a home. It's a studio that I use frequently, called Icon Studio. Shout out to them. So they allowed me to be able to come in and do my recordings for my part of my business, and it's kind of like a partnership sort of.
That's pretty sweet. And I guess you went to school for music and everything. Was that what you initially wanted to do, or did you kind of jump around with majors?
No, actually, what happened was I originally started school to be a doctor. But it was only because I realized that it was something I wanted to do, but not really. I just wanted to be something. My family, to me, are people that I consider to be like very prestigious people. So I felt like I had to do something that they would approve of. But little did I know, whatever I did, as long as I went to school, they'd approve of. But in my mind, I thought like, oh my God, everybody else is doing this. I have to be doing that. So I originally started out as a doctor, and then I went to school. Then I switched after so long to become a teacher. I taught for a few years, and then I went back to school, and I'm currently in school now to get my audio engineering degree at Full Sail University.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. I guess what sort of subject are you teaching right now? Is it also a music class, or are you kind of like a history teacher or something like that?
Well, I'm not teaching anymore. But when I was teaching, I was doing early childhood education. So that was my niche. I thought that was pretty fun to do.
Yeah, I see. I was trying to remember too. Did you work with like any special needs children at all, or was it just like?
I had at one point I worked with autistic children, but that was just for a semester. They did away with the whole program, so it was just like, yeah, it's kind of sad, but the love that you had for them was just like so fulfilling to it. It was like, man, why'd you have to cut them out?
Well, I don't know why either. But first off, it's always a money kind of issue too, probably when you think about it deeply. But I find autism like very hard, to be honest, because I got a couple family members who are autistic, and it's tough because you get angry because you don't really understand it at first. I guess, was it tough for you in the beginning?
In the very beginning, it was tough. I went home most days like, I'm not doing this no more. I'm not the person for this job. Like, the kids are great, but it's just me. I left many days feeling like that. But once I got to know them and study them, it became a little more easier for me to be able to deal with them. But I had high functioning autistic kids. So they had little to no behavioral issues. But when they did have their behavioral issues, it was really, really huge. So it's like, I guess I felt like they felt, hey, I usually don't trip on you, but since I'm doing it now, I'm just going to go big or go home.
I want to say they get destructive at times, or just not really listening, or being a little demanding.
More so being a little demanding, and occasionally you may get a little bit of violence depending on the child. But for the most part, it was just more so just typical children behavior issues. Not wanting to listen, the fits, the becoming frustrated because it's harder for them. They know what they want to communicate in their mind, but their words and their body language isn't allowing them to be able to go ahead and tell you what they say, so it becomes frustrating. So they throw tantrums because it's like, well, what the heck can I do? I'm trying to tell you, but you just don't understand. And once I figured that out, I started to study them on a different level to figure out more so the child's way of thinking, how they move. That way, when they do certain things, I'm more competent of what they're asking from me, because it's hard because they're born with something that they know nothing about. So they just know that they're different. That's it. So it was like, once I learned that, it became a lot easier for me to work with them.
Mm. Yeah, and good business you were doing there. I guess, did you walk away before the pandemic happened?
Right. A little bit before, yeah.
Okay. And I guess let's go ahead and jump into COVID. I guess, how bad did it impact you first? And then I guess, how bad did it impact you and your music projects?
Um, it affected me to a certain extent, I guess I can say. Um, it affected me because musically, I love people. Like, I love performing in front of people. I love entertaining people. That's just who I am as an individual. So not being able to do that because of the restrictions of how many people you can have in one area, staying 6 feet apart, just making sure we're following all the precautionary measures for not to, contract COVID yourself. So kind of put me in the mindset of like, dog, everything just seems so dark. I just felt, I wouldn't necessarily say I was depressed, but I did have a lot of sad days. And it was crazy because the people around me didn't know I was having these sad days, but mentally I was going through because it was just like, hey, my way of life, my language, the way I talk, the way I speak is music and entertainment. And I'm not able to do that. I tried to figure out a way to channel the energy to something different. So I started, getting more into my social media, my TikToks and stuff of that nature. That kind of started to grow little by little. So it was just like, it was cool, but it just wasn't the same mentally as actually being able to do what I love doing. So I felt kind of like silenced almost.
To a certain extent. And, I kind of understood that too, because I know 2021, when it was at least trying to turn a little chapter after 2020 and everything, I remember kind of going through those sad moments too, to a moment where I would say I was depressed in a way. And it was a good thing being around parents too, I guess. Did your parents help you out?
So I live in a whole other state than my family, so it was just me and the people that I have close to me here in Georgia. But I talked to them. I talked to my family a little more on the phone than I usually would during COVID. And then I lost my grandfather during COVID. So COVID wasn't kind of a happy time for me overall. So it's like, I was just waiting for it to all be over, to be honest with you.
Sorry for your loss. I guess we're using more FaceTime to kind of use back and forth. It's how it's a beauty. It's a beauty these days, because that's actually what I used when I went off to college to talk with my parents most of the nights.
Mm-hmm.
You the same way, using FaceTime?
Yeah, I use FaceTime. And for my family who don't have, the Apple products, I downloaded another app. Crap, what's the name of the app called?
I'll say it wasn't Skype, otherwise.
No, I just downloaded it for this one. It was Google Duo.
We'll say I think I might have heard of that. I don't know if I saw a commercial for it too, but
yeah, they have a commercial now, I believe. But yeah, I was using Google Duo for my family who just didn't want to do right an upgrade to Apple products. But that's a whole nother interview for a whole nother story.
Yeah. They want to get with the times, as they would probably say. So
no.
I would say Google has pretty much just about everything these days, so you can at least count on them. So
Yeah, yeah, but it's a little bit easier when you don't have to download the application in order to get to the phone to see people face to face. You can just call them, and it's a little bit easier. But hey,
true. All right, true. So I guess to talk about that. All right. I guess let's jump into this question right here. I guess what is it that you loved about music when you were kind of growing up with this family that was like all musicians and singers and all that?
so for me, the biggest thing I loved about music growing up and still do to this day is it's my language. It's the way I speak. Like it's hard for me sometimes to tell you how I feel, but I can write a song and tell you how I feel, or I can, craft up certain things musically or visually or digitally to show you how I feel. So for me, for the longest time, it was always like my voice. It was how I was able to communicate when I was hurting, when I was sad, when I was happy, was through music. And just watching how it connected everybody, because I had other people who say like, "Hey, I felt just like that at one point," and it was just like it's been such a universal thing to where I feel like it keeps me connected and grounded with everyday people.
That's a pretty good one. I guess in a way it was some sort of therapy when you think about it.
Most definitely, it definitely was therapy. I definitely have to give it that.
So, Mr. Halimon, that sort of thing. So, or at least the whole thing with like the therapist that's like right there kind of communicating with you and everything.
So tell me how you feel.
That
That's
sort
what
of thing.
I'm doing.
Actually, no, I was thinking trying to do like the Mr. Smith with from the Matrix and do
Yeah.
like something like that. Actually, I was trying to remember who he was doing. Actually, Morbius, I think that's what it was. That was with Lawrence Fishburne when
Yeah.
he was doing that. So, all right, that's a pretty cool one. It's hard to go back to this, but I guess did you try to use any music when you were kind of working with these special needs children? They allowed you to use that?
I used music during nap time. That was it. It wasn't pretty much allowed through the day. And what I would do was, I would find like jazz instrumentals for like Kenny G, different people of that statue. Um, and some kids wouldn't take a nap and they'll ask like, "Well, who is that?" Or "What does that sound like? How did that?" So I was able to educate them a little bit. When it came to music, I was finding myself able to do that, as well as we had to teach the kids Spanish. So I would personally request a lot of Spanish words that dealt with music. I
Oh,
can't remember.
Habla Espanol.
Yeah. So what I would do was we'll go over the sound and sound out the word together, and then they'll ask like, "Okay, well, what does that mean?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's a horn." Do I remember any of those to this day? No, but if I had my flashcards, we'd definitely be back in business.
Oh, flashcards thing. Also, it'd be like the Rorschach sword test right there. You say like, "What do you see?" That sort of thing.
Uh,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Actually, the reason why I kind of went back to it was I think what some of the places I know, because I mentioned earlier about some family members who are autistic, it seems like they have them involved in like certain activities. I think one that my sister had posted had rock climbing involved into it. So it was interesting too, but it was good to see my relative was making progress, that sort of thing too.
yeah.
But it gets frustrating, as I said earlier, because it seems like when they come and visit, it's a little bit of an aggressive pattern or something like that. So I'm not too sure, man. I guess have you stayed in touch with any of your fellow teachers or any of those students?
No.
No,
I didn't really like the teachers I worked with, to be completely honest with you.
no. Yeah,
Um, it was very few that I like really enjoyed working with. Um, the other ones were more like I just didn't feel they cared enough. And they may have had legitimate reasons to if they cared or didn't care, and how much they cared or didn't care. But I just didn't feel like they cared enough the way I felt the kids need to be cared for. But maybe that's just my personal opinion. But that's also based off of my observations of how they did things.
mm. Yeah. I think I could see because I think I did see like some things that with the news that talk about it. It would say like some of the things like in terms of neglect or something like that that some of those art teachers would do. So I think I see what you mean there too. But I mean, I would have to notice it as well. Just
Yeah, I feel like personally when it comes to like they will come to work like 20 minutes before the kids have to come in. So you come in with an attitude because you're rushing and that stuff still isn't done. So that's what I mean by they didn't care. I felt like they didn't care enough. Like me, I would get to work maybe an hour early just to make sure I had everything prepped, everything ready. So when they came in, I was in a good mood. Um, they also was people who would bring their problems to work. Like if something happened at home, they'll come to work with a hell of an attitude, and you'd be like, "Well, hey, these kids didn't do anything to you. They don't rest and rise with you, so you really shouldn't, give them such shortness with your attitude." Or so I wouldn't necessarily say it was neglect. It was just like the little things like that that made me feel like they didn't really care enough.
Hmm. Okay, that's a good thing too. So sorry, I
Yeah,
had to kind of go through that too. But I guess if you did have the money, would you kind of start your own little program to help with special needs children?
I definitely would. I would definitely start a music program. There are a lot of autistic kids who are phenomenal in music. Um, I've been researching like different foundations of like autistic musicians. My goal one day is to have to be able to perform with a full autistic band. I was talking to someone else about it the other day, and they was like, "Hey, that's gonna be a lot." I was like, "I don't care. It's just something I want to do. I want to be able to showcase, autistic kids and let them know, let the world see, like these are some very talented and bright minds. We just don't understand them."
I
And
would say my mom had actually talked about 'cause I live in the Pittsburgh area, so there's actually something they do down at Pittsburgh Symphony where they bring kids with special needs and kind of come in and interact in some sort of way too. So I think would it be something along those lines, or I guess
yeah, to where they're able to have mentorship when it comes to music, as well as give them an opportunity to be able to perform like recitals or different type of concerts or different things of that nature.
I see. Best of luck on your journey, mate. It is a long one, so
It's
strap
definitely
yourself in.
it's definitely going to be a long one, but it's going to be worth it.
Absolutely.
It's something that's needed, something that's going to be very different, but it's going to be needed.
I'm rooting for you, mate, but good luck there. So I'll have to see how it goes going forward. So
Thank you.
all right. So moving along, I guess since you've been an indie musician for I guess a good while, I guess what sort of challenges have you been facing?
My challenges I've been facing. Um,
I guess also in terms of being a production artist as well. So
so I'll speak from both sides. So as an artist, it's been the most funnest, annoyingest, um, life changing event I've ever had for a long time. That's what it feels like. Um, it's annoying because it's like the talent you have. At least I'll speak for myself. You know the talent you have. You know that you can take this thing so far, but it becomes frustrating when you feel like you're not being seen, um, or you're not having opportunities as people who work way less than you in the industry. Um, so it becomes annoying at times because it's just like, man, I'm twice as good, and I'm not diminishing the other person, or I'm not, saying that they're not, good, but I work harder. I put more into what I do, and they come in and just sing and keep on going, and here I am putting on full productions, and it becomes frustrating because it's like, at times people don't see that, but I'm learning now as I grow. I'm almost 30. Well, I'll be 30 next year. So I'm learning as I grow that, it's not about where you think you should be or, where you feel you should be. It's where you are now. And you have to learn how to work in that scope of where you are now to make it beneficial for you. Everybody has their small beginnings, as we call them, or their humble beginnings. And it's just like, we can't skip that part. And sometimes it's challenging for me because it's like, man, I work so hard. I just want to be able to feel like I've made it or I'm progressing. And sometimes it's like, dude, if you really take the time to think about where you are now versus where you come from, you'll realize that you progressed. But in my mind, that's always a constant battle because I feel like I always have to be doing more. I think the positive is it allows me to be creative as I want to be. Um, and it allows me to express myself in ways I never thought I would have a chance to. Another good thing about it is it's just fun. Like I feel free whenever I'm doing something entertainment wise. I just feel like nothing in the world matters at this point. It's all about this. And it gives me something that can't no one take away from me either. This is something that was given to me by the good Lord. So this is something that I'm always able to keep if I do right by it, because this was something that was given to me, not by a person or a thing, but it was given to me by God. So I feel like, at times it's a blessing too. So I have multiple different ways to feel about this. But overall, I thoroughly enjoy it, even though it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, you ain't lying. Actually, I was waiting for you to say "Praise the Lord," that sort of thing. So, so I know too, because and I actually notice this too whenever the camera's rolling. Because actually, do you do any sort of videos where you're kind of showing yourself making music?
No, I'm actually getting ready to start that now. Within the next couple of weeks, I'm doing a behind the scenes of me record some. I don't want to jump too ahead because I know this is going to be one of the questions. But it's going to help with a future project that I have, far as promotion wise. So I'm going to go ahead and start that within the next couple of weeks.
I'll jump into that a little bit too, but I've always noticed this, and it actually kind of happened today because before we hopped on this call, I was actually working on a drum cover.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime, because I actually use 3 cameras, because I have one on my right, one in the center, and then one on my left. And I always get a little tensed up whenever you hit the record button on it too. So do you kind of go through the same thing too?
I can agree with that. Is it tense or is it? I think mine's more so nerves.
It's probably a little bit. I want to say a little bit of both because
the reason being is because like I always want to put out my best. That's always me. Everything I have to do has to be at a high quality of being close to the best thing I've ever done. And that may be a lot of pressure to put on myself, but I just feel like I love what I do so much to where I want people to see how much I put into it, So it's like in doing that, I think it's going to help, further me as an artist as well as a business owner, to be able to see like, okay, well, if he's doing this for his own productions and his own thing, then I can only imagine what he'll do for me.
Yeah, I can understand too. I want to say it's a little bit of both because it's nervous at first because you're thinking of like, it's like a multitude of millions of eyes just suddenly watching you. And then you get tense because you feel like when you make a mistake, it's like, damn it, I got to start over, that sort of thing too.
That's definitely me. You probably hear me say damn it or shit a lot when recording.
That'd be the bloopers near the end there. So
damn it, shit, okay.
I should know when you start censoring that too. Beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep, that sort of thing too. So I guess since you did mention about social media, I guess how you been using it recently? And then we'll jump into YouTube right after that.
So how I've been using it is more so as a worldwide billboard. I guess that's the way you can kind of say it. I've been
with the neon lights.
Yeah, I've been. I know that people tend to social media right now. I don't know if it's an unfortunate thing or a fortunate thing, but I'm just gonna say unfortunately, fortunately, it's a thing that right now has the world in a chokehold. This is the one thing that everybody goes to. They measure what you can do best off of your social media. Is it 100% fair? No, but I understand times have changed. So I typically use it to promote like my projects I'm working on, just information about myself. I may do like engagement things as far as like funny videos to where people can laugh and comment. So I use it for a bunch of different things, but it's all used to help keep me in the loop and people seeing me as a business as well as an artist.
That's pretty cool. And I guess do you experiment with like many beats? I guess do you stick to like R&B or do you also do like trap and like any sort of other rap genres?
So when I write, I've only had the opportunity so far to do R&B, gospel. I'm working on some stuff for myself right now that gives more like a reggae island beat. So those are the only two that I've, had the opportunities of working on writing wise. Am I open to working on other different genres? Yes. I'm just waiting on the opportunities to present themselves. So I'm just sitting in the wing waiting on my turn.
I was gonna say I didn't know if you were gonna try something like what Ice-T did. He formed like a body count or something like that.
Yeah. I haven't thought that far ahead yet. I just more so been thinking about like the writing styles and stuff,
Hmm.
and doing like music videos and production stuff for those different genres.
Okay. And I guess when you started YouTube, I guess was this during the pandemic or have you just started recently?
I recently just started my YouTube. I'm actually having some things that's getting ready to go up within the next couple of weeks on my YouTube. So I went ahead and did a full clear out so that now the new stuff look more professional. It's more caught up. It's more up to date. The other stuff was just more so me figuring stuff out, me figuring out, lighting and, sound and all those different things. So now that I've kind of mastered them enough to where it looks, great quality, I'm ready to put them up now. So I'm rolling out a whole bunch of new stuff within the next couple weeks.
I was I'm seeing the light reflecting off your glasses right there because it's actually similar to the one I got right above me as well. So
Yep.
you got two of them or is it just one?
I have more than two, but I only have one up right now. I even have the production lights itself. I was going to put those up because I like those better the way the lighting look, but I was just like, I had a busy day today, so by the time I finally got home, I had to hurry up and get prepared for this so I wouldn't be late. So I was like, you know what, just give me the little one. We'll set it right there for now.
I was going to say, yeah, that explained it because I was going to say something wrong. So, because originally, just to tell our audience, this was supposed to be a 2, but I guess something came up at work or something like that too. So it's okay.
Yeah, I had a busy day, and I didn't even check my messages until I responded back early. I was like, oh, dog, this is not a good look. So like, I have to make sure that I'm on by 4 at no means necessary. So I was like, okay, I think I can do this.
I was like, I got places to be, man, that sort of thing. So that's good.
And I think about that with everybody. People, it's time. People have time,
Yeah. Yeah, it's the weekend too, so I mean, we were at least able to make it up.
Yeah.
We did say our prayers at 11 o'clock today too, so we're all good.
Yeah. Yep. I have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. But go back to YouTube, I guess. Is there something you hope to achieve with YouTube channel? Or you're just gonna see what happens?
I really don't have any expectations for social media at all. Reason being is because it's so fickle. People like you today, they won't like you tomorrow. The cancel culture right now is so huge. So for myself, I typically only go with the mindset of I just want people to be able to, see other sides of me. Because sometimes people can be focused on one side of you to where they realize that it's a lot more to you than just that little bitty piece. So I just more so use it now for people to be able to see like behind the scenes of like who I truly am. Like I'm very goofy. I laugh a whole lot. And a lot of people may not see that stage wise because of my persona is I'm a gentleman. So it's like I'm more reserved and chill. But in my personal life, I laugh a whole lot. Like I'm very goofy. So I want people to be able to see that so they can know who I am as an artist, as a well-rounded artist, and not just as one person they see.
I see. So best luck on that. And normally, I was thinking like how funny it would be like if you did something. You remember Cribs? It was on MTV like way back in the day.
Yeah, I mean that was one of my favorite shows.
Somehow I get a feeling that's going to be something you're going to do at some point too. And then like,
I'm open to it, but it wouldn't be the first thing I run into. Reason being is because if I can executive produce it, then I'll be down for it. But just as I'm very leery about letting everyone into certain areas of my life. I feel like home is very sacred to me. So it have to be done on certain terms, Like I wouldn't want certain energies in my house as far as like camera crew, things of that nature. I just want everything to be positive and like good spirited. So if I can do it that way, then yes. But if I can't, then it wouldn't be for me. But I definitely would do reality TV if the opportunity presented itself. But I would want it to be, once again, I would like to have more control of the production side of it.
Because they touch Semaj sitcom, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and reason being is because I see a lot of people they get painted in the worst way ever on TV, and you be like, I know that person. That person isn't that way. So I feel like to make it fair to everyone and make sure that everybody's shown in who they truly are, I would want to be part of the production part too. Not for just myself, but for the whole cast in general.
You know, it was kind of similar to how Duck Dynasty was, which was on A&E at one point. Were you familiar with that show?
A little bit, but not a whole lot.
Well, the thing was, is like the head honcho, Phil Robinson, who's the dad of like all the sons who own the big duck company now. He ends up saying just like a simple thing about the LGBTQ community and all that.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, like the whole thing just like shuts down afterwards. That was the end of that show. So I can see what you mean in terms of like the cancel culture, and then like going into like
Yeah, and then not sure what was said far as the whole thing, but I felt like you knew as a production company that that wasn't gonna be the great thing to do. So why would you do it? And then not only that, I feel like what should have been done was they should have cut that scene, had him educated on the effect that that has on people when you're reckless with your mouth or you're careless with your mouth, and allow him grace to redeem himself. Because once you show certain things, it automatically can rub anyone the wrong way, and you may rub some of your most loyal people to you in the wrong way, and now you don't have them anymore. So I definitely understand, you know, the logic of it, but I just don't think that was fair. I think they should have cut that out because you had time to cut that out. You edited it.
I don't know if it was in a specific episode. I don't know, it was like behind the scenes or something like that too.
Oh,
I forget how it all went, but I do remember that's how it was the beginning and the end of Duck Dynasty on A&E. So gotta choose your words carefully at times. Other times, be like, if he did it strictly for YouTube per se, then that's fine. Just leave it at that.
I still think they would have canceled him just due to who he is. They pick the cancel culture real strong. They pick and choose who they want to cancel. I've noticed that with my own personal beliefs. They cancel some people, but should cancel others. But that's just me. So I think regardless of the point, had he said it on YouTube or a one-on-one conversation, somebody recorded him, it still would have been bad. So I just think they have to be mindful of, once you become a public figure, you have to be mindful. I'm not saying change how you speak or censor yourself to make everybody else happy, but what I would say is you have to be respectful when it comes to people, because everyone walks from different parts of life. And just because you feel like you're in a better state than that person doesn't make you any better than that person. So we all kind of have to be, cautious with our words. Because the littlest, like I say right now, the world is so sensitive. The littlest thing will be taken out of context. So with that being said, a lot of people know that, especially public figures, but they still do it anyway. And they be like, well, it's unfair to cancel them, but they also should be educated too.
Absolutely. But let's just see what happens here. So I just know they're not going to bring that show back, which is kind of a shame too. I was kind of digging it there, and then it was there one day, it was gone the next, as the saying goes. So
that's usually how it typically goes.
Tread carefully.
Tomorrow.
Tread carefully. That's what I say.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Hashtag tread carefully.
Yeah, we got to start doing that. Yeah. So I guess walk us through some of the gear you have when you do your music production, from like beginning to the end, right there.
So when I do production, I typically focus more on vocal production, and I typically let the engineer do the sound part. But far as for that, I typically make sure that we're using Shure microphones. I make sure we use all Shure products. Reason being is because I love the quality of it. It's just my personal preference. Camera wise, I use Canon when I'm shooting. Just a personal preference. Do I think it's better than Nikon? No, I think they're both equally great. Do I think it's better than Sony? No, I think they're all equally great. So I don't think they're less than far as their name. It's just what I prefer to use.
I guess what sort of lights are you using outside of our little round one you're using there?
So I use, depending on, like, if I'm doing interviews, I do my ring lights. I also have full set production lights for my productions, as well as the old school umbrella lights.
Oh,
So I typically use those, and I'm able to control my lighting setting from my phone typically.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, the phones, they do the automatic settings these days. I don't know which one's yours, but now it's like, it's got like all the various lenses on it. So now it's like able to like replace your DSLR at some point. So,
Speaking of phones, I use my phone sometimes for shoots too because the quality of the camera is like so phenomenal, to where you can't even tell that you're shooting from a phone sometimes. Um,
it's
like
like a bright.
my favorite thing to shoot from my iPhone is 4K 60.
Is that what they normally want you to shoot at? Because I sometimes I think they do like 4K with 30 frames per second.
I'm not sure what they want you to shoot. I just typically do my own thing, and it just seemed to work.
Yeah, I guess whatever floats your boat, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So,
I just pretty much do my own thing. But yeah, I love the 4K shot because it looks so crystal clear.
I guess what sort of editing software do you use for your vocals and also your videos?
I use Stage Pro. And for my videos, I do different things. Sometimes I'll use what would I use? Sometimes I use Apple Movie Studio. So I'm able to edit. That's been my go-to thing. I'm now searching new software to use for editing. So I'm doing my research on that so that I can go ahead and get that ordered and start playing around with that too. But those been kind of the things I've been using.
That's pretty sweet. You're a big Apple user as well.
I love Apple.
Yeah.
I
How's it?
love it. It's easy. I can transfer stuff from my iPad to one of my phones or from my phone to a computer. It's just easy when it comes to storing stuff.
The beauty of AirDrop. Yeah, I was able to use that today. So,
AirDrop, just having my iCloud stuff stored in my iCloud. I put it up on a computer, iPad, or phone. So I'm real big on Apple.
I would say me and my parents struggle with the iCloud, unfortunately. We just know it's extra storage space that will at least take things off your computer. So,
It really helps when it comes to backing up stuff to your new products. Yeah, that really helps.
yeah, absolutely. Either that or external hard drive. So,
Yeah.
I think I can't go wrong with that. So,
No, it can't.
I would say make sure you have the space as well as a fair amount of RAM.
Yes, definitely have the space.
Absolutely. I guess how many do you? I guess how much space is on your computer? Is it like a 2 terabyte?
Yeah.
How much space do you eat up in like say a month?
I do 1 terabyte of space from the actual additional storage that you pay monthly. So I manage pretty good with that right now. I'm sure at some point, the more jobs I take, the more I'm going to have to, the more space I'm going to have at some point.
Next thing you know, we'll be doubling it to 4 and then 8 and beyond before you know it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's my goal.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So, for the next question right here, I guess kind of going back to when you were talking about indie musician, I guess what sort of advice would you give to other indie musicians who are perhaps trying to get into something similar that you're doing?
The biggest advice I would give to them is patience and allow yourself to grow. And make sure you surround yourself, with people who are okay with you growing. The worst thing to do is, as an artist, to be growing and you have people around you who are trying to keep you in a box. It's frustrating, creatively, mentally, emotionally, as well as it's not the best thing. It's not good for your health, as far as your mental health, because you're being stuffed in a box. So those would be the advice that I would give to someone starting or at the beginning stages. I will also say, give yourself grace. You're not gonna know everything starting off. You'll learn a lot of your stuff, at least for myself, trial and error, and that's okay. Just make sure that when you bounce back 10 times harder than you fail, and you'll be all right. Those are my things I think I would say to someone starting out.
I would say my biggest line was always like, patience is a virtue, that sort of thing.
Almost definitely, because you'll feel like at times like I'm not moving fast enough, or do they like me, or am I entertaining enough? But if you have that patience, just keep working your craft, you know, keep sharpening your craft, you'll be all right. But that comes with patience, like you said.
I think the thing that kind of adds to the impatience thing is like you don't get that criticism that should help you, let alone
No.
like constructive criticism. Instead to be like one of the others, be like, "Oh, that's you're doing good. That's a good job right there, man. And you rock." That sort of thing. And then other ones are like, "No, you suck." That sort of thing.
Yeah, it's
So
never, hey, you did good, but this is where I think you can improve at. You don't get a lot in the beginning.
they don't teach that in school, to be honest. So that's probably
No.
there's a subject you should probably take up. So
Maybe I should. Maybe I should.
nice. That's a money opportunity right now. Love to see. So
You know, I had to give you credit for that because you gave it to me.
hey, I fed it to you though, but that means you can just take it right there, and then I'd be humble. I'd be like, "Hey, there he goes." That sort of thing.
I got it.
Good luck, babe. All right, that's good. So I guess since we're pretty much 3/4 of the way done with the year almost, I guess what's your plans for the rest of the year going to 2024?
So my plans for the rest of this year is by the end. I'm on schedule right now, but by the end of the year, I'll be completely done with my first solo project. I'm dropping my first EP next year. I'm going to release a few more singles for the year, probably two singles. Well, I'm gonna do one single. I have a couple singles lined up, but I'm gonna drop one single for the year, for the rest of the year, and let them take that on out with a bang called "Dance the Night Away." It'll be coming out October 5th. It's gonna be on all digital platforms. It's something fun. It's gonna get you that upbeat type of fun, want to dance feeling. And it's something new from the sound of me, so I'm excited to let everyone hear. And then I'm also working with my team now to produce a show for next year. I'll be turning 30 May 13th, so I'm going to do a show on May 11th to showcase my project as well as to showcase my growth as an artist. So that's what I'll be working on for the rest of this year, leading
Sorry,
up to next year.
sorry about you still going there. And
Oh, no, you're fine.
is this like a mini documentary series, or is this just what you said earlier with like behind the scenes?
Uh, so my goal is right now is to just capture some behind the scenes stuff. Um, because when I drop my project, I want people to be able to see like the work that I put into it. The But it kind of gives mini docu series because it lets you follow me around into like some of my meetings, some of my rehearsals, um, shopping for the show, um, meeting with my stylist and my wardrobe team. So it gives us a lot. It gives you a lot of behind the scenes info.
I think another thing you should do is like maybe talk about the scene in general, in because you're close to Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Yes, I am in. Yep.
I would say maybe talk about how the scene has been, because I guess how has it been recently? Has it been kind of growing?
Um, I hope they don't get too mad at me for saying this, but I'm usually always the person that get mad at because I tell the truth uh, in a brutally brutal, honest way. I feel like for someone coming in right now, it's kind of hard. Reason being is because here in Georgia, Atlanta, it's if they like you. It's not based off of if your talent is phenomenal. It's not based off your talent anymore. It's based off of the clicks. Um, you have to pretty much be liked in order to sometime have a chance, and that's unfair because it's just like you don't have to like me, but my talent speaks for itself. Do I run into that issue? In the beginning, I did, but now, no, I don't. But I see other people who run into it. And that's another reason why I'm so big on my own production company because I'm able to now provide these opportunities for people and they not have to go through, the cattiness of it or the feeling like I'm not good enough feeling because of how the scene is here now. Now, there are some phenomenal talents in the scene. I'm not going to take that from them. But some of them who has the most phenomenal talent have the most arrogant attitudes. So it's like you can't. I feel like you're put in position to open a door for the next person coming behind you. And I don't feel like some of the artists here do that. It's like, well, I'm just worried about myself, and I get it. Like I said, I'm not. I try to see both sides of the story, but it's still not fair.
And so yeah, and somehow I get the feeling it would kind of be the same way in LA whenever you think about it too, or really any sort of major cities where they have like most well-known studios, that sort of thing. That's kind of a shame because if I was hearing your music, I'd be like, that's good. Let's bring this guy in and just like do that.
Same here. Like I'm the person like, okay, hey, you're a dope artist. I'll work with you. You know, you never know where that may lead you to. Um, like I said, you never know where that may lead you to. So I'm always the person that's always open to, bridging the gap. And, a lot of opportunities when I started, I had to provide my own opportunities. Nobody was booking me for shows. I had to put on my own shows and invite people and hope they come. And then it got to a point where I was able to start selling tickets now. So people were able to come and start buying tickets. And now it's just growing and growing little by little. But everybody don't have that opportunity either. Or everyone doesn't have the tenacity to focus on their music and focus on, building a whole show as well as production, invitations, all these different things. So I had to grow into that myself. So I definitely understand, why they are where they are in the beginning.
That was like the whole saying, like, hey, we're musicians, remember? We improvise. That sort of thing.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
all right.
true.
The biggest thing I've always heard about in Atlanta was more like how it became more of a bigger movie scene in terms of like becoming the next Hollywood of the East, as they would probably say. Because where did they put those studios actually?
Tyler Perry has one studio here. That's in East Point. His old studio that Aru Brothers bought out. It's in what's the area called? It's in the West End area.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's in the West End area. And then it's a few more that's farther out. I'm not 100% sure, like the city or where they at, but I do know it's a few more that's further out.
That's pretty cool. Actually, I did have a friend who's actually an actor, and he came down to Atlanta, Georgia, in order to kickstart his career and everything too. It was like he's building up slowly but surely too. It was like he's kind of doing like some minor roles, maybe some, I shouldn't say lead roles, but at least somewhere in between there, to be honest. So.
Yeah, one thing about here is it's definitely a hustle. It's definitely a hustle. And if you don't know how to hustle, you might not turn out that good. But everything here is always a hustle. Someone always doing what you're doing, so you always have to think how to make yours stand out.
I was saying, I mean, it never came to you on the silver platter, so I mean, why should it now? So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But best of luck on your journey there, mate. You did some good work. So. The brief few questions pretty good. I guess we can jump into some fun ones right here. Ready?
I'm ready.
All right. We'll start with the first one. What is your favorite movie?
Oh, I got a couple favorite movies. I'll do my all-time favorite too. Baps and Norbit.
Which one was Baps?
Baps was the one that had Halle Berry in there. To where they moved from this hood area that they lived in to LA they thought they were going for a video shoot, but they didn't get the job and they ended up moving in with this rich guy. And they, kind of helped keep him alive a little bit longer because he was dying because he was depressed. So he thought they were he fell in love, that he was in an interracial relationship. So he thought that they were his granddaughters and they thought that they was his ex-wife's the woman he loved granddaughters, and it was just comical all the way through.
Was like, you're setting yourself up for trouble if you think you're related to somebody who's rich and powerful, that sort of thing. So
it was comical. And then Norbit was the movie with Eddie Murphy where he played like the multiple characters.
For some reason, you struck me as a guy who would like the movie 8 Mile. I guess have you seen that one?
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of 8 Mile.
No.
I appreciate the artistic talent that came out of it. But it wouldn't. I'm a comedy type of guy. I love comedy movies.
Well, say that explains the laugh, so that makes sense. All right, that's cool. For the next one, what is your favorite food?
Ooh, I'm not like a huge foodie, but I would have to say like if I had to pick a favorite food, it would have to be pizza. Or chicken wings.
Oh, really? Is there a particular sort of pizza? Any sort of toppings on it?
I'm a basic pizza type of person, so I like pepperoni and ham.
You're borderline with meteors, because actually I had one of those last night, to be honest. So.
Yes, I love pepperoni and ham. Now, my favorite meal, if I had to say, I love soul food, but I also like a good medium well steak with asparagus and mashed potatoes.
A traditional
Those,
sort of gourmet
yeah,
meal. So
traditional gourmet meal. Yeah, I'm a traditional person. I don't big with the taste buds.
actually, believe it or not, I work a second job, and it's actually in a restaurant. And
Hmm.
our steak dishes, because we only do strips and fillets,
Hmm.
and it's usually mashed potatoes and Brussels sprouts instead, not asparagus. So
I hate pretzel sprouts.
actually, you would like these because we have a sweet chili sort of sauce that we pretty much lather
Mhm.
them with. So I think the sweet chili would win you over, to be honest. So
I definitely have to try that, but I'm not big on Brussels sprouts.
I thought I wasn't either, but I will tell you this: the
You
sweet
had
chili
that
will
moment.
change your mind.
I'm definitely going to try that out when I'm in your area.
Sounds good. All right. For the next one, in terms of favorite drinks, do you drink alcohol by any chance?
I do. My favorite alcoholic drink, I love a margarita.
You margarita.
Yeah. My favorite alcohol, I don't typically have a favorite alcohol, but I've been real on a tequila kick lately.
Really?
It explains the margarita, but but yeah.
I'd say every now and again I might enjoy a margarita if I'm feeling it. I'd say me
Hmm.
and my dad, we never really shared the whole thing with like in tequila at all. Not sure why. I think it's an acquired taste, to be honest. Even though he drinks a lot of gin, so then I tend to like drink the lighter stuff, like Angry
Yeah.
Orchards.
Yeah, I'm not a gin type of guy. I feel like gin is a real grown folks drink, and I ain't that grown yet.
The you're saying they have to be old to drink it, that sort of thing.
That's a older drink. Like I just can't get down with it. I used to have when I was in high school, I mean college. My first year of college, I used to have a roommate. He used to drink gin and orange juice.
I'd say it's a screwdriver is vodka, right, with orange juice.
I think so.
I don't know what you call this one. I don't know. People come up with some crazy names when
I
they
think they
mix.
called it gin and juice.
What was it?
Gin and juice.
Ah, I just gave it simple. I thought we were going to get creative with a name or something.
No,
So
they gave it a very easy name, gin and juice.
there enough. And non-alcoholic drink.
I like lemonade. I love a good lemonade. Sprite's another one that I enjoy. Um, I used to be real big with Coca Cola, but I'm starting to wean myself off Coca Cola because it's not. I mean, none of the sodas are really good, but I watched this one video of everything they did with Coca Cola, and it was just like they cleaned the car battery, they cleaned rust off of a mechanical tool. Um, it was just, I was like, yeah, this isn't. If this doing all this for this, imagine what this is doing to the inside of my stomach.
Oh,
So it's
geez.
like, yeah, I'm gonna have to back off this one.
Because next thing you know, it's going to be washer fluid sprayed out
Yeah.
the. So I can see why. And actually, you know what? I went to a doctor's not so long ago. He just said like to just back off of Coke products or anything in general.
Yeah.
Mainly just for the rest of your life, if anything, because it's really not anything good for you since it's mostly sugar.
Yep. So I just been doing the light lemonades and the sprites and the light stuff, but I'm slowly winging myself off of that too pretty soon here.
You strike me like you would like the Minute Maid lemonades that they have in the cans.
No, I'm more of a homemade lemonade type of guy. Like I like it to actually be made. I don't like the ones that come in the can.
I do have to ask, did you ever try a limoncello?
No, I have not.
I would say you're in for a surprise with that one. It's pretty strong. Unfortunately, it goes back to an alcoholic
Mhm.
drink because I think it utilizes lemon peels and they let it sit in vodka for a good while.
I'm gonna
So it eventually becomes like
have to
this.
try that. I'm gonna have to try that.
Not to see. Though, when you do, film me a reaction. Let's see what happens.
I definitely will. I definitely will.
Okay. I'll hold you to it. I'll hold you to it. All
Okay.
right.
Fair enough.
And for the last of the fun questions, what is currently your favorite song?
Because I go through waves of having a favorite song. Like it's not a. I don't have so I can be like, yeah, that's my favorite song. Nope, that's a lie. If I had to pick a song that was a favorite song, like for my life, it'd be the Whitney Houston song, It's Not Right, But It's Okay. But if I had to pick a song for right now, it's Edelweiss.
From The Sound of Music.
It was from a musical.
You remember which one? Because I remember the one from Sound of Music.
It's the one where, have you ever seen Princess Diary?
Yes, I did see the first one.
The
Yeah.
Hold on.
I was say I do remember Princess Diaries, and I do. I think I remember seeing it. I was like a young kid back in the day when it first like came out. I was actually okay with it too, even though I probably didn't understand too much of what goes on in a teenage life, to be honest.
Yeah, I want to say it was from the musical of. Um,
I guess while you're looking for it, I guess since we are kind of near the end of my podcast right here, I guess did you have any questions for me or any final words you want to say before we jump into the final one?
how hard is it to do podcasting for you?
When I initially started off,
Well, what challenges I should say with doing a podcast? That's the best way to ask that.
versus finding your clientele, I guess whichever sort of niche you're trying to get into. In this
Yeah.
case, should we just keep it like strictly the music?
And to be honest, it was from The Sound of Music. The grandmother from Princess Diaries she played in that. So that's where it's from, The Sound of Music.
Oh, it was out of music. Okay. If we're just keeping strictly for music-wise, versus just going out and like finding a clientele. So the funny thing was, you actually reached out to me in one of the comments in one of my posts. So there was that. I mean, sometimes I like to say it's like flipping a coin in a way. It's either say yes or to say no, that sort of thing. So most of the time people like to get on too, even though they might actually make the assumption that you're like some big Joe Rogan sort of podcast at first. But you always got to start off small. So in my case, it was easy. Look for people in our drumming community to just interact and get to know them a little bit more too. So it was just like, hey, you want to come on my podcast and stuff like that. After that, it's like trying to see like how you're able to record the video and audio, which actually the Ecamm recorder really helps out, even though it has its troubles at times. So you do all that, and then you just bring it all together. In my case, Final Cut Pro, you mess around with it in terms of editing, just to see like how you get video, audio, match it all up, make sure it's all good, put it all together, and then you just see like, because in my case, I like people to like say like, is there anything you want to review about it in case you want me to like take anything out? So
It's always dope, always dope.
Yeah.
I'm one of the people, I'm just like, hey, just put it as it is. Because nothing's perfect, no matter how much I want it to be perfect. I think I'm learning now that the most perfect things are the things that you least like the most.
That's true, yeah. And I would say, sometimes it's like we actually say something that we didn't mean to, and it was just like, all right, I'll take it out, just so that it doesn't.
That too. I can see that. I'm just like, hey, I'm more the person. It is what you get with me.
Yeah, fair enough.
What you see is what you get. So I'm just like, hey, if I said it, hey, that's it. There's nothing we can do about it. If it's wrong, I can apologize and educate myself on it. But if you just don't like it just because you don't like it, I'm just like, what the hell with it,
Well, it's we had an awkward silence there, trying to look up where the song Edelweiss that came from.
Yeah.
Even though we did say it was.
We could definitely cut that one out.
Well,
but we could do the last one if you want to.
All right. I guess you got no other questions? We're all good?
No, that's all good. That's all I wanted to know, honestly.
I guess you also do your own little podcasting. Is that what it is? Or just strictly interviews for like YouTube?
I do. I'm getting ready to launch a podcast. Me and my best friend have a podcast called the Blackout Podcast. We've been filming for that the last couple of months. So we're working on time frames now, dropping episodes and stuff of that nature. So we're in our last part of that. So it's been a very rewarding thing. We actually started out on Facebook, she and I, and we would just talk about like different topics that was, on our hearts. When it comes to like, the community of people in general, and it just turned into its own thing. And now we're able to now record together instead of separately. So it's growing slowly but surely.
Is this like a music podcast or is it like just kind of getting down to know people?
It's like a lifestyle podcast, honestly. And in that, we get to know people by, listening to like different things that we talk about, like from their lifestyle. Like, um, one of our episodes is about finding your purpose, what that looks like. How do you know if you found your purpose? So we talk about different things that's more so for the healing of people in this one. It's totally separate from music.
All right, sounds good. I wish you best of luck there, mate, because it's a long uphill struggle like it is with YouTube, too. So,
Most definitely. I definitely.
well, good luck, mate. Wish you all the best.
Thank you. Same to you. Same to you. I can't wait to be like, I was on his show one day. Because I'm telling you, you're going to be big.
Eventually. I would like to get to the Joe Rogan sort of stage at some point. So,
Oh, yeah.
keep me in your prayers. So.
Definitely will.
Okay. For the last question right here, this one's one I always like to ask. But given what COVID has done, I guess what sort of message of hope could you give to musicians and people out there as we try to move forward in a post-COVID world?
The thing of hope I would say is keep going. It don't feel good at times. Life is happening to you at times. People are leaving this world that means so much to you during those times. The jobs really aren't coming through during those times, and that's okay. But I promise you, if you keep going, you're going to be able to look back and be like, man, I remember it was a time to where I wasn't able to get jobs due to this, or I did lose the person that was close to me because of this. I just say keep going because, that keep going is going to show you how much strength you have as an individual. And it's also going to be inspiring to the person that you least expect to be watching you. I wanted to give up music, but my brother told me that, he was in a real bad car accident that, he almost died in. He was banged up real bad, and he told me, like, hey, you can't stop music because your music is what I listen to get me through my therapy, my physical therapy. And I was like, dog, I didn't even really think that someone felt that way, number one. And oddly enough, like, not my brother, because, most people, your family supports you, but it's not to the level of someone who don't know you, if that makes sense. So it was like I felt like he was supporting me as someone who didn't know me, which made me feel really good about my talent because it was just like it wasn't I'm supporting you because you're my brother. It was like I'm supporting you because this is really good to me, and that made me feel good. So I would just say, no matter what happens, keep going. It's easy to give up. So many people are doing what you're doing, and that's okay. But it's enough room for everybody. So don't quit. Just keep going. That'll be my voice of hope that I give to someone. Because I wish someone would have gave that to me during my times when I wanted to give up.
Absolutely. And is your brother doing good now? I guess, what was that car
Yeah,
crash?
he's doing well. He's had a kid since then, so he's doing good.
That's really good to hear. And spoke like a true prodigy. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, Semaj, we reached the end of my podcast right here, and we talked for a good hour right now. I guess, do you have any final words or any shout outs you want to give before we close?
I'll start by saying thank you for giving me the opportunity to join your platform. Um, I definitely will come back anytime you need someone to come back. Thank you for, showcasing your talents, your gifts as well, because it gives people like me a platform to be able to, get interviewed as well as, talk about things that I'm working on, as well as, people getting to see a whole other side of me. So you're helping elevate people's, careers and where they're going. So thank you for that because, it takes a lot to be in that position. I'm sure that it's not easy. I'm sure some days you want to give up too. So thank you for not giving up and creating this, platform for people like us who goes through the industry and, they're building and they're coming up little by little. As far as my shout outs, I want to say the Just Semaj production team. Thank you guys for always working so diligently to help with my crazy ideas. I'm a person I'll call you at 1 o'clock in the morning, like, hey, we need to get this done. Dude, do you not know it's 1 o'clock in the morning? Thank you, I love you. We'll get it done tomorrow. I'm one of them type of people. So, and they deal with me. I'm not easy to deal with as a creator because I'm always like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do this, and we need to have it done by tomorrow. They're like, dude, you just gave me the task today. So I want to say thank you to them for always taking my crazy ideas.
We're putting out with my shit too, that sort of thing.
Huh?
No, I was just joking right there.
Yeah, but I appreciate that because Yeah, I can be a lot to deal with. Because I'm over the top personality. I'm an over the top entertainer. So yeah, it's a lot to deal with me. They put up with a lot of shit when it comes to me.
Yeah,
Um, they, and I appreciate them because they love me for me, and it allows me to love them for them. Um, I want to shout out my family, my friends, um, for being there for me. Um, Shout out my bae for always having my back. And yeah, just shout out all the musicians and artists and production crew and everybody that worked behind the scenes um, in this industry in general because they don't get enough, kudos and attention. So I want to shout out to all of them too.
absolutely. I would like to have you on at some point, but unfortunately, we got a long waiting list. Considering that there's 4,000 of us in the band together group, and then I got like
Yeah.
another 100 or so. Like, it was actually a guy who reached out to me. It was like T. Shroom, and he told me about like all these various rap artists all around the world. So, these does say we got a big list. So,
I'm definitely going to be watching though and supporting. I'll definitely be sharing your stuff so people can see it too.
no worries. And also, thanks for reaching out. And that was actually what the catalyst that started and got this whole thing together too. So,
Thank you, man. I'm glad that that happened for you.
no worries. So, everyone, my guest today was Just Semaj Productions, aka Semaj Halimon. And I guess how else can people reach you outside of Facebook? What are sort of socials are you on?
I'm on all social media platforms and I can be followed at Just Semaj Music. JUSTSEMAJ Music MUSIC on all platforms. And then you can also follow my production page at Just Semaj Productions. And that's where you can find me at.
All right, sounds good. You heard from this guy right here. So go hit him up on the socials. If you're in the Atlanta area, hit this guy up. This guy's going to help you make a career out of you. So, Semaj, thank you again so much again for coming on. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Stay tuned.
All right. All righty.